Is poetry the only form of writing that you still practice today? Because your last book was from 2006 of Africa. I mean, you are still writing, still today, but is it only poetry and essays, or will you maybe still write a theater play?
I don't think one ever completely stops writing, composing. Let's put it this way. You may decide in the end, I've written something similar, others have, and probably done it better. But I don't think that one day, or maybe just 1 week, maybe 3 days, actually go by without one composing something. Not everything gets put down on paper, but there's just so much of human tumult around one that we never stop writing.
Let's talk about this one, The Humanist. One of the most famous books in Flanders, at least in Belgium, because it has been translated into Dutch, was Ake, on your youth, where you talk about your upbringing in a Christian household. Your mother, you nicknamed her the Wild Christian. Your father was the headmaster of an Anglican school. When you write about religion here in the poem, but also in your last book, you say that maybe we are better off without religion. Religion is not supposed to help humanity. Let's just get rid of it all the way. I summarily summarize, but
yes.
that's basically...
I've said it even stronger, more strongly than that. There are moments when I feel that there are enough what you might call organic problems in human society, and the human individual, issues of psychological makeup, concrete issues like feeding millions, etc., enough nature disasters which numb us and then we overcome them. Just enough problems without religion adding to them. And the others, there's nothing much you can do about. But religion at least can be controlled. It can be placed under check. Unfortunately, it's just become a giant obstacle, an instrument of oppression. I've seen places where religion actually destroys the mind. I mean, everybody has seen it, though they may not put it down to religion. They might put it down to social alienation, psychological warp, but then how did the human psychology get warped in the first place? And I've watched brilliant people who've been just captured by religion and given up the potential of themselves as individuals, including their potential contribution to society, saying, they've been so brainwashed, so indoctrinated, that they feel that even I'm looking at extremes now, that even achievement, they feel it's a sin. I've seen brilliant young people that said, no, I realize that all this, what they call my talent and my brilliance, etc., is all put there by Satan so that I will abandon God. It's as crude as that. And it is that same kind of mentality that animates the murderous extremists that we encounter today, the Boko Haramis, the Al-Shabaab, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, etc. In some cases, yes, motivated genuinely by wanting to elevate the human being. But most of the time, they are fixated outside actuality, and they feel it is all right to destroy living humanity completely to pave the way for other eternal residence in the afterlife, or else the arrival of one Messiah or the other in the world. And I think those people are sick, such people who think that it's okay to destroy humanity because of their vision of eternity. I think they're sick, and humanity must take a really strong stand. Now, that is not to deny the contributions of religion to the world. The aesthetics of architecture, which have been absolutely inspired by a religious feeling, nobody can deny that. There's music, which have been the result of some inner communion with some unknown deity or superhuman entity or environment, just the imagination, human imagination. But I wish they will all be taught that it's their own inner, an inner core of creativity that produce these only from a track, which we call religious piety, religious devotion, etc., etc. That way, religion is benign. I cannot deny that.
Because you call yourself religious person too, or at least spiritual.
Do I call myself
religious, or at least spiritual?
I say spiritual, yeah. I distinguish between spirituality and religion. I think all human beings have a certain aspect of themselves where they ask, I call it more a philosophical side of themselves, where they ask, why am I here? How did the first being come to be? What's the purpose? What's my purpose on earth? And they're not satisfied with the concrete productivity. They feel that it must be towards a certain direction which they are not equipped to see. And so spirituality is on various levels, but spirituality is mostly benign. It's personal, it's interior. You resolve your questions, or you don't resolve them, you just use that very basis of uncertainty to communicate with others and to produce and just heighten the level of existence.
Mm-hmm. But in your books, Dance of the Forest is one example. In Other Africa, you put the Yoruba religion at the front, saying to the world, here's the answer. I mean, you write, humanity could benefit from African spirituality.
Yeah. Isn't Yoruba culture the answer?
You tell me, why so little Nigerians even follow it?
No, I use it as a paradigm, largely. We've just spoken about dangerous religions, or the dangerous paths that religion takes and which compels human beings to take. And one of the beauties, that I stress this at every opportunity, is that is one of the religions in the world. I call them sometimes invisible religions because they're not much known about. One of the few religions in the world which has never gone to war on its own behalf, on its own basis, for the promotion of its ideas. Neither a crusade, nor a jihad, nor the equivalent anywhere would you find in religious. It's a very tolerant religion, the religion of the Orisha. And despite that, despite its reticence, it actually successfully crossed the Atlantic in the hearts of the slaves to the Caribbean, to Latin America, Brazil, Cuba, Colombia, Dominica, Puerto Rico, name it. Anywhere the slaves went, their religion survived in spite of very harsh reprisals from the slave owners. Not only that, this religion was so infectious that it's syncretized with Roman Catholic religion. And the Orisha names syncretized with the names of deities, St. Anthony, etc., etc. And that is why, for instance, I think the present Pope is going to be one of the most successful, because it comes from that folder.
From Yoruba.
Let me see, maybe I have my calling card here. This Pope.
Yeah, but your calling card is about wine,
yes,
not about religion.
Here's the Pope, and this is the missing 9th beatitude. Blessed are the winemakers, and that's the Pope, and
What do you have?
He's a Yoruba at heart.
What do you have with wine? Let's talk about your cards. You once said, the Nobel Prize is not my most important prize. The Nobel Prize was not your most important award. Mm-hmm. You said you had an award from an obscure sect of winemakers, and you said, this is more important than my Nobel Prize.
Well, one says things sometimes tongue-in-cheek, especially if you're rolling some wine in your mouth at the time, literally. But it was half serious. I was inducted into the fraternity of St. Nicholas, and so many years ago, I've forgotten.
Rabelais, Voltaire was there too.
Nicolas, you know, Bouguer, thank you very much. And among the former members were, you know, literary figures like Rabelais, for instance. One is not surprised that he'd been inducted into a wine fraternity. But so many others, philosophers and so on in that. So I felt really, really honored. And the ritual was pure Yoruba ritual, you know, pure Yoruba ritual.
Which is?
It was. I don't know where they stole it from, when, but it definitely was Yoruba ritual.
Is it true that you haven't drunk water for a decade and only wine? I just wanted to check that rumor.
I haven't drunk.
That you refused to drink water for a decade? Is that true?
It's not refusal. You see, some people come to wisdom very late in life. I came very early. And I realized very early, intuitively, that wine is better for the human being than water.
Okay.
And the Pope has affirmed it. It's in that kind.
Yeah. We should get some.
He promised he was going to leave some wine there.
Yeah,
what
but
happened
he
to him?
didn't.
Yeah.